Friends, you know that expression, the oldest trick in the book? It got me thinking because so much of what we are facing right now is deception. And that is a clue to the topic for today. So the oldest trick is deception. And the book is the Bible. The entire Bible talks about discerning truth from deception. It talks about discerning good from evil. It talks about how you are created, who created you, how to honor your creator. And in the book of Genesis, it talks about Eve being tempted by the serpent. You know, I like to use that phrase for our public serpents, and was tempted by the serpent, being told that if you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will live forever and you will be like God. And it was the exact opposite. It was that you would die and you would not live forever and you would not be like God, because there only is one God. So deception entered the world. Deception is still at work now. And I want to give you 5 ways to discern truth from deception. Deception is where there is some truth to reel you in, and then there are lies mixed in with the truth, so that you're looking at the truth going, well, this sounds right to me. So let's do this. I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you can discern truth from deception. And number 1 is you're going to ask yourself, is it simple and clear? Because truth is simple. Deception is convoluted, it is confusing, it is distracting, and it is, you need to ask yourself, is this clear or is it understandable? So deception is complicated. When someone is trying to deceive you, they're going to tell you that it's difficult to understand and it's complicated and I'm going to have to break it down for you. It's the exact opposite of what I do here at the Healthy American. I tell you simple truths. When I talk about Title VII, for example, of the U.S. Civil Rights Act, I'll explain that it is the law that protects you from being discriminated at work. And there are only 2 actions that need to be done under Title VII. You invoke your religious belief, for example, if you're standing on your religious belief, that conflicts with your company's policy, and number 2, they have to accommodate you. So it's simple, it's clear, it's easy to understand. Anyone that has been through my program is able to teach others because it's so simple. The truth is simple. God is not a God of complications. It is the opposite. Deception has to build upon itself layers upon layers of deceit and confusion. Think about what we've been going through for the last couple of years. There's been so much confusion. They've spewed one thing and then they backtrack and then they'll tell you something else and then they'll tell you, no, that's not what we meant. So deception is by its nature convoluted. If you've ever told a lie, you know that you're thinking, oh my gosh, what did I say and how do I remember it and who did I tell it to? Where the truth is simple. So please repeat after me, the truth is simple. That's the number 1 thing that I do when I am discerning truth from deception, is I ask myself, is it simple? Or is it convoluted? Is it complicated? Now, I'm not saying that there are not some concepts that are sophisticated, but it still should be easy to understand. All right. Is it simple, clear, understandable, or is it convoluted, confusing? And there's another phrase that some of those that are pushing the deception is they will say it's hidden knowledge, and only they have the key. That is a type of occult practice, and we get the word cult from the word occult, and that is the hidden knowledge that only some have. And even some religions are perpetrating that, where you have to go through an intermediary in order to contact your creator. That doesn't exist. You can have an individual relationship with your creator. You can pray, you can seek guidance. It does not need to be complicated. It should be simple. So anyone that's peddling hidden knowledge, you need to look at again. Number 2, does this concept or this situation, does it align with objective reality? What is objective reality? It's something that we can look at and we agree on because we are seeing it and we're experiencing it with our senses. I'm looking outside right now. I'm broadcasting here. It is a little bit after 5 o'clock, and I can look at the clock. It's a reality that I can base my conclusion on, that it's a little bit after 5 o'clock, and today is Monday, and there's a date, and it is an objective reality that you can rely on. So does this information or concept or theory, is it based in objective reality? Does it align with the truth? Number 3, is there a factual basis from which you can draw logical conclusions? That's really what life is all about. It is about being presented with the facts, whether it's your circumstances, and that's where we can start. What are the circumstances that I'm facing? And what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to learn? And can I draw a logical conclusion from the information that is presented to me? So we talked about that in a previous video where I gave examples of logical fallacies, and there was a video that I used where somebody was putting forth arguments and you could not draw a logical conclusion from what they were saying. The information had to do with abortion, and the person was saying that if you really care about the life of an unborn baby, then you are going to care about, for example, the wages that they are earning. This is not what the person said, but I'm giving an example. The wages that they are earning at McDonald's, and that you should be standing for all of these other social issues. Otherwise, your stance on abortion is not valid. Okay, that, my friends, is an illogical conclusion. You are comparing apples with oranges. So when you are faced with a concept, an idea, a theory that somebody is peddling or sharing or teaching, you need to ask yourself, what is the factual basis that this person is drawing a conclusion from? And does that line up with the facts or not? Number 4, is there visible evidence and proof of what they're sharing? For example, I'm sharing information about Title VII, and there have been many people that have said you should not have to invoke a religious exemption. You should not have to be exempt from anything. There is no legal authority for your employer to require this cooties cure. I agree with you. There is no legal authority for your employer to require this cooties cure. I am standing on the legal authority of Title VII. I'm taking an approach that says your employer has no legal authority to discriminate against you because of your religious beliefs. Your religious beliefs include your ethical and moral views. So if you believe that it is ethically wrong for your employer to force you to do something with your body, you can stand on that. I further go to explain that it is required of you as an employee to notify your employer, for example, if you're not going to show up at work that day, if your car broke down, if your child is sick, if you have some reason that you can't come to work. If you just don't show up at work, you will have likely a disciplinary action against you. And there is legal validity for them to do that because you signed a contract, your employment agreement, that you would show up to work, or maybe not show up at work, maybe your agreement is that you work from home, but that you would provide a certain end result, and for that end result, you would get money. And if you are not providing that, you are required to notify your employer. So notifying your employer of these other objectionable policies is nothing different. So that is the way that I work. That is what I teach people. That is my premise. And as I'm going on number 4, I have evidence to back it up. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have followed my approach and teaching, and they have had success. So I have factual evidence and proof of what it is that I'm teaching yields results. And that leads me to number 5. Is this concept, theory, action, idea, does it bear fruit? And we'll go back to the book. We'll go back not to the oldest trick in the book, but to one of the concepts and one of the principles that is taught in the Bible, and that is, you shall know them by their fruit. So when you are determining whether or not to believe someone or to follow what they're teaching or to learn from them, you're going to look at their fruit. What exactly have they achieved? And if they're new in the game and they're just getting started, maybe you give them a little time or something, but over a period of time, you're going to say, what are the results? What are the success stories? What have you done with this action? Is it bearing fruit? So there are more ways likely that you can discern truth from deception. I would like to hear from you in a comment below. How do you discern truth from deception? I also will pray for God's wisdom. So there are gifts of the Spirit, and one of the gifts of the Spirit is the gift of discernment. And God has gifted me with that ability. Some of you may call it your BS meter. And it's like, wow, this what I'm seeing, or this what I'm looking at, or this what they're showing me on the news, it smells fishy. It doesn't hold water is another way of saying it. It doesn't pass the smell test. Or you may say my hogwash meter is going off. Those are all expressions that are linked to your own intuition, your own God-given conscience, your own body of wisdom and knowledge over the years that you've lived. And you're like, something isn't adding up here. So that is almost an additional, like, sixth sense. It's sometimes referred to. So you can see something, you can hear it, you can experience it, you can touch it, you can taste it, and then you can feel it and you can intuit it. So that is something that people have to certain degrees. And it's usually based on other knowledge and information that you've taken in over the years. So I can say that my intuition or my hogwash meter, my discernment is operating at a high level. So that's something that I would put in as well. But in terms of the 5 steps that I've shared with you, let me know in a comment below what you have been able to discern truth from deception. It's very important because, listen, everyone is looking for a savior, and Satan is happy to oblige. We want to make sure that we are not honoring evil, and that we are honoring good, and that we are good, and that we are following the truth. Truth is an objective reality that we can agree upon with facts and evidence. So many people are living with their eyes blinded to reality. They don't want to face reality. They don't want to believe what the government is doing, what their fellow Americans are doing, or other human beings. And I understand that, but closing your eyes to reality adds another layer of suffering that you don't need to do. So let's take a look at who we've got on board here. And we've got Rhonda. Thank you also, Rhonda, my moderator here, keeping the stream flowing. She says, turn off the TV. You'll be glad you did. Jim, I like what you've got. He says the litmus test. By conversation with humans about anything, look at the body language and their eyes. I like that as well. So you are experiencing the reality of the situation, talking to somebody, you're taking in all of those visual clues. Some people listen to the voice, to the gestures. That is also very important. Ramona says she prays for wisdom to communicate truth and discernment, when to talk and not to talk. And Leah is affirming, yes, we need to pray for wisdom. That really should be the covering over all of my points here. When you are praying for wisdom, you're drawing in supernatural strength and power, God's wisdom. Let that guide you. Many people, like my husband, spend a lot of time reading the Bible. I spend a lot of time in prayer. I have read the Bible through and through. I have favorite passages that are very inspiring for me, but I really listen for God's direction and wisdom. And when something doesn't sit right with me, I dig deeper. That's another one of my phrases. Another one of my approaches is dig deeper. So before you join a program, including mine, before you enter into any contract, before you have communication with your boss about what's going on, pray about it, dig deeper, take some time, use these tools. And really the bottom line is, does this line up with reality? Sometimes we get carried away when something sounds too good to be true. And the response to that is, it's usually too good to be true. So Fran says that people don't want to hear the truth. It is unbelievable. Joseph said the cardinal virtues relate to God, including the intellectual virtues. Joseph, please expand upon that. You're absolutely right. God tells us that we are supposed to take every thought captive. That means to guard our intellectual mind, to not just believe everything that's been told to us. We are also supposed to guard our hearts because that's where life comes from. And in an emotional setting like this, where people are scrambling and looking for remedies and resources and strategies and solutions, they can be carried off in a direction that is going to leave them spinning. Some people, like you lovely, healthy Americans, have that power of discernment where you say, this just doesn't seem right to me. It's not adding up. We can look at that when we look at news stories, when we look at events that have occurred, or when we look at what people are telling us or teaching us. That is called a false teacher. It is so common in the church. That's exactly where Satan loves to direct his energy, because he's trying to distract people away from the truth. So I really wanted to share this message with you. I will have my encouragement speech, I guess that's what I would call it, my encouragement talk. That will be listed also at peggyhall.tv. I can't put it up here on YouTube because of the things that I say. I don't hold any punches when I'm speaking at our gathering. And then Pastor David's sermons are also listed at peggyhall.tv. And he has a YouTube channel that we are getting up. Actually, it was a little bit more active in the early part of 2020. And then we got so busy with all of our consults with our VIP clients and also our beach church, but we are endeavoring to put up all of his past sermons, and that YouTube channel is True Hope with David Hall. And Dr. Dave said there are so many Sauls that we should be praying that they become Pauls, meaning they will turn away from evil and turn toward the truth. Truth is going to bring you peace. That's another one that I like to bring in. Think about times when you've had to make decisions that were very difficult, and there may have been a decision or an idea or something, an action that you wanted to take, and even though it may have looked good on paper, it didn't sit well with your spirit. It didn't sit well with your soul. I've had many of those experiences, and if you'd like to learn more about my decision-making process, how I solve problems, please also join my Living Swell with Peggy Hall channel. It's here on YouTube, and I have over 200 videos full of positive encouragement for vibrant living. I talk about how to make decisions. I talk about acting in a way that brings peace to your soul. It doesn't mean that it's easy. Often what we're called to do is not easy, but deep down we know that it's right. And that is based on reality, and that is based on God's truth. What I'm sharing with you today, I think, is one of the most important messages that I've ever shared, because people are making decisions related to their employment, to their body, to their health, to their career, to their finances, to their relationships. And they're often basing these not on the reality of truth. And then they will come back and have regrets and remorse. I also have videos about how to deal with regrets and remorse, and how to change your past and how to change your future. Those are over at Living Swell with Peggy Hall. Please follow me there. I do live streams every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific, and that is where you can take a break from all the hogwash and let your spirit be filled. I want to be a lifeboat for your soul and help you keep your head above the waves in these stormy seas. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. Joseph said, amen. Truth does provide peace, order, and harmony. Joseph, I love how you expressed yourself. That is so true. And I believe, let me know if you agree in a comment there, isn't that what we are all after at the end of the day? And even at the beginning of the day, we are seeking peace. Peace of mind, peace in our heart, peace with our relationships. It doesn't mean that we don't fight. It doesn't mean that there aren't hardships. There are hardships, but God promised us that He would be there with us every step of the way. Proverbs 16:11 said that if we follow God's word, if we walk in His way, we will find that peace. I'm greatly paraphrasing, but that is really the message of the entire Bible. There is the wide path of destruction, and many there be who will go there. And that is all based in deception. It's the broad way. Isn't it interesting that we have Broadway in New York? And oh my goodness, you may imagine what goes on Broadway. And then there is the narrow way, the narrow path, the narrow gate, and it's straight, and it's a set of footprints. And evil is an active force that tries to draw us off that path. So Peace does not mean that it's not easy, but it does mean that it is worth it. So I would love for you to share this message with others that are struggling, that are trying to discern what to do in their life, that may be looking for the quick fix or for other teachings, and they're being led astray. There are so many false prophets, so many false teachers, and they may not even know that they're false teachers. They might be used by evil because they are not standing in God's truth. They may not be a person of faith. They may not be praying for wisdom and discernment and strength and perseverance and all of these things that we need to stand in righteousness. So no, it's not easy, but it is right. So please share this. That is my goal in life. My mission and purpose is to inspire and educate and empower and encourage people to live in truth, the truth that is aligned with reality, the truth that comes from God. You can't go wrong, and I'm grateful to have you all on board, friends. I'm just doing one broadcast today since it's Labor Day. I will be back with you tomorrow. I'm going to be breaking down the occupant of the White House, that horrible speech that he did, that threatening, ominous, troubling message that he gave. I'm talking about something that I don't see anyone else talking about. I'm going to reveal that for you tomorrow, so hop on board with me. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I've got so many videos for you that will answer some of the questions that you are posting right now. So please study my religious exemption playlist. I've got videos on your medical rights. I've got videos for those of you that are applying for jobs. I've got videos on how to avoid the nasal assault, and of course, keeping your body pure as a pure blood. So dive in, enjoy all of that research that I've provided for you here. As God has directed me to do, I will be marching this all the way to heaven, and I have a feeling that you healthy Americans are going to be on board with me as well. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming broadcast.